When we think about our health, we usually focus on the here and now. But what if I told you that the biggest health challenges we face as adults, things like heart disease, diabetes, cancer, actually have roots that go way, way back, sometimes even to before we were born? Today, we're going to dive into a totally different way of seeing our well-being, not as a bunch of separate illnesses, but as one continuous story. Okay, let's get into it. It's a wild question when you really think about it, isn't it? I mean, it kind of flips everything we thought we knew about health on its head. We tend to link these major issues, what experts call non-communicable diseases, or NCDs for short, with getting older. But the science is showing us something else entirely. It's telling us the story starts much, much earlier than you'd ever guess. And look, this isn't just some interesting idea to kick around. The stakes are unbelievably high. That number right there, 15 million, that's how many people between the ages of just 30 and 69 die too early from these diseases every single year. We're talking about lives cut way too short, and that's exactly why we have to understand where these problems really come from. Okay, so to really get our heads around this, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll talk about what this new lifelong approach to health even is. Then, we're going to walk through the different stages of life, from the very beginning right on through adulthood. And to wrap up, we'll look at the big picture, how we can actually build societies that support good health from start to finish. All right, first up, a lifelong health approach. The key idea here is a massive shift in how we think. It's about getting away from just treating sickness when it happens, and instead getting proactive about building and protecting our health for our entire lives. So the official term for this whole idea is the life course approach, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's a way of seeing our health as this long, cumulative story, not just a single snapshot in time. Every stage, every experience, good or bad, it all adds up and shapes our health way down the road. It's all about connecting the dots. And this slide really lays it all out, doesn't it? The old way? Totally reactive. We'd wait for something to go wrong, then try to fix it. It was all about the disease. But this life course approach is health-focused and proactive. It thinks about the whole person and, this is the key, it recognizes that the best time for action isn't just when you're an adult. It's at every single stage of life. So this is basically our map for the rest of this journey. We're going to follow this timeline chapter by chapter, starting right from the very, very beginning to see exactly how our health story gets written. Okay, let's dive into our next section, the critical first years. And you can think of this stage like laying the foundation for a house. If you get the foundation right, the whole structure is going to be stronger and last a lot longer. Get it wrong, and you're dealing with problems for decades. And get this, the story starts even before it were conceived. A mother's health can actually help program her child's future risk for disease. Then, during pregnancy, things in the environment, like air pollution or exposure to tobacco and alcohol, have a huge effect on the developing baby. This means that preventing these diseases in the next generation doesn't start at birth. It starts by supporting the health of soon-to-be parents. Then, of course, once a baby is born, that infancy period is another huge window of opportunity. We know for a fact that breastfeeding gives kids a healthier start. It's also when crucial vaccinations happen, like the one for hepatitis B, which actually protects against liver cancer later in life. And of course, keeping babies away from things like secondhand smoke is just absolutely critical. All right, on to our third section, childhood and teen habits. If the first few years were about the foundation, this is where the walls go up and the habits get locked in. The behaviors that we pick up during these years, they often stick with us for life. And where does a lot of this happen? Schools, right? The goal is pretty straightforward. Get kids eating better and moving more. And we can do that by making schools actual zones for health. Think about creating safe routes so kids can walk or bike and putting real national policies in place for what's served in the cafeteria and how junk food is marketed to kids. It's about systemic change. This quote nails it. Adolescence is such a pivotal time. It's when you start making your own choices, but at the same time, you are such a target for the marketing of things like alcohol, tobacco, and junk food. And that's exactly why teaching health literacy, just giving teens the tools to make smart decisions for themselves, is one of the best investments we can make. Okay, moving on to our fourth section, health through adulthood. This is the long haul, right? This is where we're trying to keep that foundation strong while, life happens with all its stresses and pressures. For a lot of us, the workplace is a huge part of our adult lives, so it's a massive opportunity for promoting health. Things like healthier options in the cafeteria or incentives to be more active can make a real difference. But here's a really important point. It can't just be about the workplace. If it is, you're going to miss a whole bunch of people and actually make health gaps wider. You have to reach everyone through community centers and a strong healthcare system that offers things like screenings and mental health services for all. And then, as we get older, into retirement and beyond, the focus kind of shifts a bit. It becomes less about preventing a disease 30 years from now and more about quality of life today. It's all about maintaining your ability to do things, keeping your strength, your balance, and just feeling good, which means things like social support and living in an age-friendly community become incredibly important. All right, for this last section, let's pull the camera way back. We've walked through the journey of an individual, and now we're looking at the big picture. This is about creating a world where the healthy choice is the easy choice for absolutely everyone, no matter how old they are. So when it comes to public health policy, it really boils down to tackling these 5 major risk factors. We've seen these pop up again and again throughout our journey. If you can systematically go after these 5 things, you can make a huge dent in the problem of non-communicable diseases. And this isn't just wishful thinking. There's a real concrete global goal on the table. Leaders from all over the world have agreed to try and cut down the number of people dying too young from these diseases by 1/3, and to do it by 2030. That puts a real sense of urgency on all of this. Now, the really good news is we know what works. There are proven strategies out there that experts call best buys, basically the most effective bang-for-your-buck policies that governments can roll out. We're talking about taxes on tobacco and sugary drinks, cracking down on junk food ads aimed at kids, and making sure our air is clean. These are real, practical tools that can build healthier societies. So, if you take one thing away from all this, let it be this right here. Our health is not a snapshot taken when we're 40. It's more like one of those long exposure photos, right? It captures the combined effect of everything we've been through at every single stage of our lives. It's a story that's been written over a lifetime. And that's what's so powerful about this whole idea. It shows us that, yeah, the early chapters matter a ton, but the story's never really over. There's always a chance to make things better, to promote health, and it brings the question right back to us, not just as people, but as communities, and asks us what kind of future we want to write together.